Okay. Hello, everyone. My presentation will be in English. I hope that's okay for everyone. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you can just stop me right there and I'll translate or explain anything to you. Okay? It's a pretty interactive session, so we'll be able to discuss and get to know each other a little bit. Okay, so I personally hate public transportation and the metro. Who does too? Okay, quite a bunch. I particularly hate it when it's 40 degrees Celsius outside. Who particularly hate it when it's that hot outside? Like last week was just awful. I chose quite the dramatic title for my presentation, but because the situation right now is pretty dramatic, as this is the coldest summer that we'll ever have, probably. So, yay, humanity. The idea for this in the following minutes is not to depress you, is to think of solutions, think of the impact that we might have as developers, data analysts. I think I've seen some data engineers in the room as well. So we all can contribute in some way. So keep this in mind throughout the presentation, even though the beginning is a little bit depressing. Okay. A little bit about me, or maybe of how I came up with this title, is that I went to Vivatech recently, like a lot of people, and like Emmanuel mentioned. And I went there as an ambassador. That was super cool because I could see all the backstages and I could bother all the startups and companies and they weren't annoyed by it. And to give a little more info about myself, my name is Lea Brinde, and I'm a software engineer during the day, and my superhero job is to create content about tech online, and I share what I learn with my community online. And it's a lot of fun, and I get to learn a lot of things, but also I get to challenge a lot of the things that I see through my work and through the content that I do. I get asked a lot of hard questions, and I'll ask a lot of hard questions back. And what I observed during my time at Vivatech, so it was a couple of days, I got to see a lot of the startups, thank God. But I got a little bit of a bittersweet aftertaste after the event. First of all, there were less than 100 companies that were focused on sustainability, even less focused on even just inclusivity and diversity. So that was a bit of a shame. It was kind of a trend at some point, and we lost the craze, I think, of it. So this year, it's really not a lot compared to the 14,000 that were there, just for comparison. So less than 100 was a little bit disappointing. Then more than 40% of the companies were AI related or with a strong AI focus. This was a record number. Last year, which was the year of ChatGPT, we hit 35, I think. So this time is even more somehow. Again, a lot of repetitive stuff as well, but it was still very interesting to attend, of course. And then 35 out of 55, this is a bit going out of the Vivatech bubble, but 35 out of 55 of the new companies of the YC cohort are positioning themselves as AI or OpenAI wrappers. So I'm talking about calling the OpenAI API and doing something with it, right? This is a big number. And as you know, these are big models that consume a lot of energy. We're going to dive a little bit into that. But basically, my concern out of all that was, okay, what does this say about the scene of innovation right now? Even further than that, the problem is not just about AI, it's how we approach tech in general and innovation in general. And maybe we got kind of carried away with all of these new exciting things going on. And what I propose to you for the next 20 minutes is to kind of take a step back, think of what innovation really is, and then maybe make things a bit more challenging for us so that we really manage to make change in the world with tech without having such a negative impact on the world. Okay? So now quiz time. Are there any DevOps engineers in the room? I see you. I see you. Okay. So tell me this. I know the question is hard because it's a bit vague and average, but the average exists. I found the papers. So how much energy does the average CI/CD execution pipeline cost? On average, if you could, like as a CO2. I have answers. I have the answers.
In what?
In the CO2 emissions.
Oh, CO2.
Yeah. Yeah. And like grams. A kilo a month? A year?
Oh, okay, I thought one.
Yeah, no, pipeline executions throughout the year, the month in general.
Oh, the year?
Yeah.
I mean, 50 kilos a year?
Okay. Any ideas? I know it's hard to estimate. The question is hard. More than 50 or less than 50? Let's say that. The closest wins. More than 50? More than 100? No? More than 100? More than 200? Who says more? Okay, so the answer for you is 36 kilogram a year on average.
That's still a lot.
That's still a lot, and that's for an average execution time of like 10 a day, which is not a lot. That's nothing, right? So this is like a really small student project, I would say, to some extent. So this is a lot. For everyone knows what a CI/CD pipeline is? You can say that you don't. It's okay. Yeah. So I let you explain it.
A CI/CD pipeline is kind of an automated way to deploy code or to execute tests, so that every time you have a new release, all the same tests are executed and the code is deployed in a standardized way.
Yeah. So every time a website is uploaded, if every time a new button is pushed to a website, the CI/CD pipeline is run so that it can be deployed, right? So then, next question. Okay, I hope I didn't spoil you. How much energy could good coding practices save, do you think, as a percentage?
75%.
Okay. I'm just talking writing clean code, nothing more. 75, 10? That's a big gap. 40%? 13? 13, yeah, that's precise. Up to 50% is the estimate. So that's huge, huge, huge. That just writing clean, I'm not even talking AI right now. It's like just writing correct, clean, good practices code. Okay. How many developers on average consider sustainability while coding? How many of you do? An idea? Someone has a number? 2? 30? That's optimistic. 5%. So it's about 18, which is, it's grown. The concern is growing across the years. It's slow, but we are getting slowly a bit panicked. But the problem is, even more architects, we asked solution architects that if they could integrate sustainability in their thoughts while designing a solution. So 67% actually want to, but the thing is, only 25% feel that they're equipped, trained, or have the tools to be able to do so. So there's a huge gap between, again, what we want to do and our good practices that we want to apply and our feeling of ability to do so. So that's a bit of a shame. What's more of a shame is that tech is becoming more and more political. So we have a real enmeshment going on between our tech giants and the governments. So this means two things. It means that tech is having an impact on our day-to-day life more and more, but also that the governments can regulate tech more and more. They work closer together, but often not really in a good way. To give you some ideas of, again, we're talking impact. Because of decisions that are commonly made between governments and these big tech companies, there are water stress regions all over the world. And when I'm talking water stress, I'm talking water shortages. We have in Brazil, where more than 10,000 people are affected because of new data centers that are being built in regions where there's already no water. So I don't know where they're pulling that from. And it's hundreds of tons of liters of water every year. Same in Uruguay, it's kind of the same region where, again, there's no resources, but they're still being drained. In Spain as well, and if you go to Mallorca, if you go to the south of Spain, you can see it directly, and it's also because of the building of new data centers. Meta is installing there, again, new data centers being built everywhere, and consuming a lot of water that they don't even just use for cooling. A lot of water is being wasted in the data centers as well. And also power shortages. We often talk about the water, but power-strained zones are even more affecting the local people living close to these data centers. The Northern Virginia and Texas area are particularly concerned, where they have just power outages in their local civil homes because it's all being used or mostly being used for these data centers. In Norway, the TikTok data centers are 5% of the national consumption, which is absolutely insane for if you think of the whole population of Norway. And in Ireland, it's even worse, and there have been protests since the past 2 years to prevent that because, again, 21% of the electricity, that's 3% more than what the residents are using, completely bonkers and insane. And it's going actually worse. It starts with us. The change starts with us, but it's going worse because, as you know, and as has been mentioned, I think a lot of regulations are coming for accessibility, but also for AI. So the AI Act has a whole bunch of text about how we should be more transparent with our use of energy, how we should regulate it and justify every decision that we make. But at the same time, we have Sam Altman, who's discussing with President Trump to, of course, because AI, development of AI and of new capabilities needs energy. And so he wants to discuss a bit more specific regulations in R&D for AI development. So this goes completely against whatever the EU Act is trying to achieve. And investments in tech are higher than ever, especially in AI. So this is kind of two strings that are going opposite, as it seems. But again, I'm working in tech. I'm part of the problem, I would say, as we are all. But I think that we can also be part of the solution. But for now, this is us. It's us coding the next big thing and inventing the next genius invention. And at the same time, the world is burning and people are literally lacking water. But since we're safe behind our computers, we don't feel that is affecting anyone. But every line of code counts, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. So what can we do since everything is miserable? The solution starts with us because we're the one coding the solution at the end of the day. We're the one designing it, we're the one maintaining it, so we can't just hide our hand in the sand and act like we're not concerned, right? So I have a couple of things prepared to show you, things that you can do starting tomorrow. And it starts with solution design. So you asked the question a bit earlier as well. First, before we even think, when you have the idea, before you even think of implementing it, thinking, does this solve a real problem? And I swear to you, this question is not being asked enough. Does this solution solve a real problem? The thing is, again, we can do a lot of things. We have the capabilities. Not every solution is worth something. And if it doesn't solve a real problem, we don't need to build it. If it already exists, you don't need to build it. And if you don't build it, you save energy. Second question, am I outsourcing complexity just to move fast? Am I calling the OpenAI API just because I don't want to develop something in-house, because it goes faster, or because I really, really have something in this third party that I really need? Because again, we could think that because it's a third party and they're already hosting it, maybe I'm saving energy. But if I do it myself, at least I have control. I can monitor it. I know what's going on under the hood. And I can justify it to my customers or to my clients as well. And then the big question, do I really need AI here? That is the question again. And I work in R&D as a software engineer. So my clients talk about AI all the time, every day since 2 years. Okay, but a lot of things have been going on before ChatGPT. There's a lot of research about machine learning that has been done even way before I was born. So AI or Gen AI, how we now understand it, is not always a solution. Yeah. Best example being what I always explain to my clients when we talk is, if you want to fry an egg, I could offer you this great machine that can do anything and fry eggs automatically when you wake up in the morning. And he also can do combat and do groceries, and he can run super fast and fly and fry eggs. But I could also tell you, well, you can get a pan and you can get a stove and a recipe and you can fry eggs all the same. So instead of investing in, again, a big LLM model that can do absolutely everything and anything, and sometimes not even that good, you can use what we call SLMs, smaller language models, that you can host even locally on your machine. I have some running right now. that can do maybe some very targeted tasks, but that sometimes perform even better on whatever you want to do. And it takes a little bit more effort because you have to think through exactly what your solutions want to do. But in time, if you think like that, if you think like an engineer and you leverage AI in a very targeted and intentional way, you can again save energy and reduce your impact, and by avoiding these big, huge models that are very good for very specific things. Then UI design, and you'll love that one. Because again, we're developers, or we're data, or we're tech people, but we are more and more taking on more and more roles and responsibilities, and I feel like we have our word to say as well, and design as well. Okay. So first of all, first question, does my design choice minimize energy use on the user's device? We forget that a lot, and I had this reflection when I talked with my older colleagues. They remember building websites in the year 2000, where you had to find real kind of tricks and things to be able to compress websites, to have for them to be the more lightweighted as possible, to be running them on any device. We don't think about that anymore because we all have iPhones and Macs and we just forget about it. But constraint and this challenge enable us to really be intentional again about our choices, and designing more lightweight websites with less animations, less videos, or more targeted videos that really are useful, that could already make a huge impact. Is the interface optimized to reduce data usage as well? Do you use cache? Do you use all these techniques to be able to reuse some content or to load content along the way? That again, 500% difference in the CO emissions. That's absolutely insane. That can just be done by design. And then the last question, which is, am I giving users visibility on the impact that they're having when interacting with my app? One good example that we have that we explored with our team was, imagine one of these 1,000 AI image generation apps, right? Where you upload your picture and then you can generate a picture of you be in Bridgerton or in your favorite TV show, or wearing in a certain style or a certain time. So imagine the same app, but with this added. The regeneration represents 200 grams of CO2. So this represents kind of, I think, a 10-kilometer car ride, something like that. Or 2 hours of Netflix streaming. Would you click on this button as fast if the image doesn't fit too well or if you don't look too good on it? So this kind of dissuasive technique in design is working very well for food, for health. So when you see les aliments, boire trop d'alcool, c'est pas bon pour la santé, things like that, that is used and is working very well because it works on 27% of consumers. They at least think twice before doing something. We could do that with AI tools as well, and that's a really, really small change that makes a huge difference. Now, quality of code. That's why you're all here, I hope. First question, have I minimized the number of services, containers, and deployments involved? And I know we all love microservices, but it's not always the right solution. We have to be intentional about the number of services we create. We have to be intentional about the number of dependencies we create, because a number of packages we want to import, because all of that, again, has an impact. Am I using the most efficient algorithm and data structure for the task? Again, to reduce complexity, which is the main source of energy consumption. Loading in memory, using caching, streaming, all of these techniques exist and are well documented to improve your code to be less consuming as possible. And then, have I profiled and monitored the energy performance and the impact of my code? There are many packages and tools that exist to monitor the performance and the energy consumption of your website, of your application. We just aren't using them because it's convenient and it's easier, but you can add that constraint to you. And if you're ready, I can give you a little demo of 1 or 2 examples of how you can monitor your code yourself. So, if everything works, I did this little demo time with my dramatic title again. And the idea here is to compare 2 simple examples of code and see how the energy consumption and the carbon emissions vary from one to the other, right? So here you see how the tool works and how it will scan my consumption. I'll explain to you right after. Oop, where are my examples? Okay, go down. Go down. Okay, they don't want to go down. Okay, it's okay. I'll just do this. Took. example 2. Okay, so let's take this. Very simple code. You create a variable s, and then for 10,000 lines, you addition the value and add them to the string, okay? Here on the side, you can see, you can see how it's scanning my activity on my PC and how much energy it takes. And here we have 3, it's a very, very small number, of course. And if I take the second example, using join, which is the optimized version for Python code, we have a difference of about half, which is huge. Again, this is a very, very small number because it's 3 lines of code. But if you add this up to the millions and millions of lines of code that you can find in your average application, this is a huge, huge, huge impact. And the difference is only here using join, which is a more optimized version of the same operation in Python code. And each language, each compiler has their own optimized way of compiling the code, but just being aware of that, again, is very important. You can also, I'll skip that for now because it's a bit more DevOps-y, but you can also have developed very easily some tools to just pre-analyze the consumption that your app will take once you deploy it, and that also varies a lot from one provider to the other. But here, same thing, you can very quickly get the result that will take the cost in a month, here 9 kilograms for a simple 5-service app, 5 kilograms of consumption a month. So these are things that we don't really consider, but that have a huge, huge, huge impact. So in my opinion, we are part of the solution. We are the solution because we are the problem, I would say. So we are part of the solution and will play a greater role over time. The more tech takes importance in our day-to-day life, the more our awareness and our capabilities will be important in the solution. So a good thing to do starting tomorrow is to ask the right questions, to challenge yourself, because again, challenge and constraints are a catalyst for creativity. And to be intentional. I think that's the most important thing to take away from this talk, is to think before you code, and think of what can be less energy what could be more optimal for energy consumption and CO2 emissions. And again, we can't be perfect. I'm far from perfect, but we can try to be better than we are yesterday. And that is it. You can find my resources. And if you have any questions, there's my LinkedIn and my content online if you want to find it. Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. If you have any questions, yes.
First of all, it's not a question about your presentation, it was very clear, but would you say that there's hope of better sustainability for AI with quantum computing, or do you not believe that it would solve?
I think it's making things worse. But the thing is, again, the sustainability should be by design. And the thing is that these tech giants are not at all taking this matter into account by design. So again, by design, similarly to accessibility, it will not be taken into account. But I think that we can have some impact if we develop our own standards and we keep pushing for that to be applied in our own companies. I think at scale it can have an impact. I don't think that quantum computing will have a positive one because it's, again, huge computers that demand a lot of energy to run, and that has a ripple effect. Yes.
How do you deal with the temptation to use ChatGPT when you're stuck in your code? Like, sometimes I code at work and it doesn't work and I'm stuck for a long time, and I know it's not good for the environment, but the last resort is just to use ChatGPT to debug and to...
I try to use local models, actually, that run on my machine. Again, it's not the best, But still, if I can limit the consumption to whatever is here, it's already a ton better than ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using online. And for that, there are many specialized models for code that you can load on your machine with even, okay, let's not exaggerate, but like 16 giga RAMs, you can have something running on your machine that can help you. There's some even extensions for VS Code or for other IDEs that help you to integrate it into your IDE. So if you look into that, there's a ton of options to at least help you a little bit. Yes?
Yeah, thanks for your awareness, bringing awareness on this. I've been hearing things about how much energy it was taking, but this was really nice to have a presentation that was
Thank you.
specific. And I would say, have you been experiencing any pushback or defensiveness about bringing awarenesses? Because now, you know, you have Bold and Lovable, and everyone is vibe coding, encouraging everyone to vibe code. Everyone's being encouraged to start using ChatGPT, like the boomers and everyone. And they are not, their prompts aren't tight, so they just keep going in and saying, well, no, that's not what I meant, that's not what I meant, that's not what I meant.
Definitely.
So now I'm really concerned.
I understand. And if you're, so there's kind of two discourses. On the client side, of course, everyone's concerned about sustainability. No one's not concerned. You'd be a monster to officially not be concerned, right? So everyone is concerned about it on paper. But the thing is that there is this constant dilemma between sustainability and innovation and profit, right? So you have to kind of make it a compromise, of course. Again, same with the code. You know, I showed you 2 examples of code. Maybe in the second example that's more optimized, you're maybe suppressing a little bit of maintainability or readability. You're always kind of sacrificing something, right? So the idea is how do we package it so we can have a compromise between both, keep advancing and making profit, but also having these concerns in mind. And I agree with you for the vibe coding part. I think we are going towards that direction. However, at the same time, when you look at some companies who have have been all in AI and have retracted their decision very quickly because the costs in energy translate in costs, period, as well, you know? So I think there's trends coming and things will slow down a little bit once it goes to scale and we realize that we cannot vibe code everything.